How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. We have to talk about the stock market insanity that is coming next week. Probably the biggest week of the quarter for stocks. This is where the largest companies in the world, like the 8 largest companies, are all announcing earnings. We're talking about FANG stocks, Berkshire, Visa, Tesla. They're all announcing. Now, I want to go through each of these and show you what's being announced when. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do, because I think it is important to get this straight, because we don't have too much time left before earnings come up. Now, last quarter, it was set up this way too, where we had a lot of huge earnings all in a row. Now, some companies, some of these FANG stocks, some of these other large tech companies beat expectations by 30, 40, 50, 60, 70%. And some of them didn't even move on this announcement. Some had like 10 out of 10 earnings. Couldn't have done any better. But there's still fear. There's fear of inflation. There's fear that maybe they sold through too many of their products and people wouldn't be buying their new products. There was a lot of fear. But since then, a lot of the companies that didn't move up after their last earnings have moved up since then. For example, Apple. Apple's up to $140, $145 a share. It has moved up a lot over the last couple months. Now, some other companies announced and they blew up afterwards. Facebook did great. Google has been consistently growing. I think they're up 60% on the year. And we have to take a look at this just because there's so much going on. Also, we'll talk about how this could influence crypto towards the end, because there are some big implications on crypto based on what is said next week. So before we get started, if you guys don't mind hitting the like button, I really appreciate that. While you're down there, there is a link in case you want to start investing on Webull. Just deposit $5, not $500, and you can get some free stock. Tesla, they announced on Monday. So they have their earnings. They are obviously going to be a very interesting one to watch. We're going to see, of course, how they did earnings and revenue-wise, but most Tesla investors aren't really going to care too much about their earnings, exactly like the actual numbers, because they're in it for the long term. They really want to see, I think, what they're talking about with the Cybertruck, with the semi-truck, maybe what they did in crypto. A lot of people think that they might have changed it up a little bit, maybe bought a little bit more crypto. We had the B word, which is the event that Elon spoke at, talking about cryptocurrencies, and that was just a few days ago. So that was kind of interesting to see him in a room with Cathie Wood, and then also the CEO of Twitter, Jack Dorsey. So overall, it's going to be fascinating to listen to this earnings, see what they did, see if they are able to deliver on some of those Cybertrucks and some of the semis, maybe a little bit earlier than people expected. We want to see how they were able to kind of get through the last couple months. Now, of course, that's going to be a big earnings, but then we start getting to the more interesting ones, I'd say. We have Apple the next day. So Apple and Microsoft are announcing. Now, these are two of the biggest companies in the world. And then in addition to that, we have Google. We also have Visa. So a lot of big earnings that day. Tuesday is going to be the day to watch. We have Google. They're a company that I cannot wait to add more on the dip. These are strong buys, moderate buys. These are some of the largest companies in the world by far. Google, I really would like to see a little bit of a decline in price so that I can buy more. I bought a share maybe a couple weeks ago. I did a video about a month and a half ago saying I wanted to pick up more Google, or I wanted to pick them up in general. It's one of the most stable companies out there, and they continuously beat expectations. They beat by 40, 50, 60%. Now, Apple also was a company that smashed earnings last quarter, but a lot of people thought maybe they're not going to do as well this coming quarter because of the fact that they sold so many products this quarter. So how are they going to be able to compete in the next quarter? So if they have another great earnings, we might see them move up, but we also might see people saying, hey, they sold so many products, how are they going to sell more products? This is a constant issue for Apple, at least for Apple investors. People keep on wondering, how are they going to sell more products when they sold so many last quarter? Then we have Microsoft, not really a company that interests me a lot, but it is one of the largest in the world. And then we have Visa, really able to take a look at where people are spending, how the consumers are acting when you see Visa, because obviously Visa controls the majority of credit cards along with MasterCard in the US. So we have the next day, another huge day. We have Facebook, PayPal. This is going to be a day that I'm really dialed into because I really like Facebook. I'm a big Facebook owner, and I would really like to pick up more shares. I think people are very worried about regulatory risk and data protection risk with Facebook, and that's what's keeping them from being a $2 billion company. I just did a video on TipRanks talking about Facebook and going through some of the stats on Facebook, and it is the lowest PE ratio of all the FANG stocks. It is less than half the PE ratio of Amazon, and they're growing quite quickly. They have a great balance sheet with, even after paying off all their debts, they still have $35 billion in cash. Now, some people think that Apple and Facebook might have actually put some money in Bitcoin too, which is going to be interesting to see. I don't know how likely that is, but that could be interesting if they do announce that. Also, we have PayPal, another one that's similar to Visa. We can see where people are, sending money to and stuff like that. We have Pfizer. Then the next day we have Amazon, obviously huge company. We have MasterCard. Then we have some other large companies here. All these companies are $200 billion plus companies. So L'Oreal, obviously, you're gonna show us. I don't know that much about L'Oreal, but I know there's some makeup there. So maybe we'll see, are people going back out? Are they spending money on makeup as opposed to like stuff to clean their face and skincare products? Amazon, massive beast, just gonna probably continue growing at a pretty good rate. Then we have MasterCard, like I said. And then Friday, we cap it off with Berkshire Hathaway. So Berkshire is announcing AbbVie, ExxonMobil, Procter & Gamble. This is a huge week. This is a huge week for earnings. We can take a look at some of the largest companies in the world: Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook, Alphabet, Berkshire, Tesla, Visa. So all these companies are literally the largest US companies. Some of these other ones aren't announcing, or I don't know if they're announcing, but up until here, every single one on this list is announcing next week. We have some other large companies that are a little bit further down that are announcing next week too. So a lot of the largest companies in the world announcing next week. So like I said, it's going to be interesting to see if some of these beat expectations and fall down in price still, because people are worried about the future, whether it's inflation, whether it's how are they going to continue to sell products when they had such a good quarter, whether it's, hey, how are they going to continue at this growth rate? So one other thing is, if they don't give their future guidance, a lot of people usually get worried with that. Otherwise, if they beat expectations and they say, yeah, I think we're going to continue to grow at this rate, we're looking good. We have future guidance. This is what it is. We think we're going to continue to growing at this rate. Some people might find some amount of comfort in that, and some of these stocks might go up pretty dramatically. Now, I am not buying right now, trying to get in right before earnings. I want to see how it shakes out a little bit. Now, I believe in dollar cost averaging, and I've been doing that, but right before earnings, I'm just always a little bit cautious. I don't want to make earnings plays or anything like that. So I am waiting to see a little bit what happens next week. It's going to be a huge week. Definitely tune in for that. And in addition to that, we have some interesting things in crypto that are going on right now. So if you haven't been watching, there was the B Word event yesterday. Elon, Jack, and Kathy all talked about crypto. In that event, we had Bitcoin go up kind of before that and then fall down a little bit during the event, but it's come up a decent amount since then. Ethereum's come up too. BNB has come up. The whole market has come up in crypto. Something that's really interesting to see is about a little bit over a month ago, Goldman Sachs said that cryptos are not a viable investment for diversified portfolios. However, it just came out that the ultra-rich are turning to cryptos after driving the SPAC boom. And this is a Goldman Sachs survey that nearly half of the family offices that the bank does business with, so like $10 million, $100 million, a couple $1 billion, these are like family offices, they're investing in digital currencies. So Goldman is like a lot of the other banks where they're saying one thing and then they're saying something completely different the week after. So a lot of these banks want to get into crypto, or their clients want to get into crypto, and they're kind of trying to push a little bit of fear, uncertainty, and doubt at the market while they're going and purchasing crypto, or their clients are. Now, it's going to be very fascinating to watch. We could see a little bit of a dip next week if none of these companies actually are investing into crypto, like Apple, like Facebook. But also, if they do, we could see a massive pump, right? We know what happened to Tesla last time when they bought a significant amount of Bitcoin. They went up dramatically, or the whole cryptocurrency market went up dramatically. So it will be fascinating to watch. Now, it could move, down 10, 20% without any news either in this market. So it's going to be just something that we have to pay attention to if you are investing in crypto. So thank you guys so much for watching. Again, this is huge for next week. If you guys want, there are those links down below to get some free money from Webull. Also, if you guys want to get an interest rate on a crypto, you can check out the link down below to BlockFi. Thank you guys, and I will see you in the next video.